Afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday, and welcome to number six. I actually can't believe it's number six. As you could tell, a little bit different format today. It's just going to be me. Unfortunately, I had the president of, or former president Nissan America coming on, but as you can imagine, a little busy. So couldn't make it, unfortunately. So you're going to have to listen to my hot wind for the next 45 minutes to an hour. But I also figured it was a good opportunity for me to kind of dig into some of the questions that we've been asked to this point, and some of it actually was really good stuff that I think everybody would like to listen to at a level. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. If I can enlighten you, fantastic. But again, a little Q&A today, a little bit different format, and thanks for joining. Whether you're live or you're listening to this on repeat, I appreciate your ears. Again, welcome to the Renegade Podcast. So, digging right into it. Actually, you know what? I don't want to dig right in yet. Before I get going, has anybody been into New York City recently? I had, uh, was lucky enough to be able to take my family into the city yesterday. We went and saw Moulin Rouge, which was pretty awesome. Getting into the city, kind of nuts to be honest with you. All types of delays and what have you. Just not enough people to man the trains, so delayed and canceled. And we ended up having to jump off and get on the path and go into 33rd Street and hot mess. But getting into the city, man, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't believe the amount of garbage, just absolute garbage all over the place, just piles and piles, and the smell. I mean, listen, I'm a Jersey boy. I've grown up in New York City, basically. As much time as I can spend there, I love it. I still do, but I just couldn't believe what the city looked like, what it smelled like. It's still, my heart, but boy. Uh, anyway, if you haven't been in New York City, late recently, you'll be a little shocked. If you've never been there before, please go. Don't not go. They need you. But at the end of the day, someone who's kind of more or less lived in and out of the city his entire life, I was a little shocked by it's not it's never been clean. Don't get me wrong, but geez, it was little beat up yesterday. So, but Moulin Rouge, great play if you have the opportunity. Um, in any event, I'm fully digressing, which I'm really good at because I'm full of hot air. So let's get to some questions. First question, actually, that I wanted to hit was something that uh, really kind of, I think, speaks to all of us in this industry. Certainly, if you're a property and casualty producer, specifically auto insurance or homeowners insurance, but even on the business side, commercial side, they're still using them. Carly from South Carolina had sent us a question. I'm relatively new to this. What is a predictive model? I've heard you say it a couple times now. So to answer your question, Carly, this is something that I probably became first aware of maybe 20 years ago. I struggle with it a little bit. I still struggle with them, not with what they are, but in essence, what a predictive model is, it's an instrument that insurance companies use to assign a score to each individual policyholder. And much like a credit score, that individual score that the policyholder gets is going to dictate their associated cost of insurance. Now, every factor that goes into it is proprietary. But we know, every carrier is probably going to have some very similar factors that they use inside of their predictive model. Obviously, your age, your demographic, your geographic, the type of car you're driving. There's certain knowns, right? The things that we've always known insurance carriers use to rate. But ultimately, what a predictive model is designed to do is kind of predict, obviously, what type of risk you present to that carrier, right? What type of propensity you're going to have to accidents, to tickets, to things of that nature, right? And even the tickets and the accidents themselves end up being predictors. For me, again, it was probably roughly 20 years ago where I was first made aware of predictive models. And at the time, I was with State Farm, and I obviously understood it, but I kind of pushed back as I always do, to try to find out more. Because I think everybody will remember, and this is how I first became aware. And this was probably, again, 20 years ago, where Geico was taken to court because it was found that in their process, uh, they used whether or not, or the level of education you had, college degree, no college degree, as a model, or a predictor, and they used it to score you and ultimately charge you. So they were brought to court. Someone without a degree felt that they were being unfairly charged, or rated for their cost of insurance. Now, the courts found in favor of Geico. So at that point, it was found to be fair business practice. Now, at this point, if you're an insurance agent, you're going into the system, you're actually logging in, what they do for a living, what level of education they have. So, and certainly that's used as a marketing ploy as well, or marketing metrics, so that they can market better to their customers. But it's also being pulled in and used as a determining factor in the type of risk you're going to be, and ultimately the cost of insurance you're going to pay. One of the things that bothered me at the time was credit. So credit weighed very, very heavy into, and still does, into all these models. So every carrier that has a predictive model is using some sort of credit-based scoring, and your credit score as how they're going to create your insurance score, which again is affecting your cost of insurance. So when I heard that, I pushed back hard. I ended up calling one of my head underwriters at State Farm to find out a little bit more. Right, I didn't know, and for me, that's kind of always how I've learned. Ask questions. I'm still calling underwriters every day and asking them questions, because they know the policies through and through, and a lot of times they've got a little bit of an inside scoop, whether it's from senior leadership or whatever else. Rumor, grapevine, which oftentimes is as good as anything else. But at the end of the day, I push back. So I end up calling, I'm speaking with one of our lead underwriters, and I'm pushing back. I'm saying, listen, this is the circumstance that I gave them. I said, I don't understand this completely, because inside of this model, this credit-based model. So I was really honing in on the credit, because at that time I had found out that credit was heavy. So uh, my mother and father came from really two totally different backgrounds. My father is the son of two Italian immigrants. Dirt poor. My grandfather was a coal miner. My grandmother was a lunch lady. They never owned a home. They had one car, and life was kind of always a struggle for them, until my uncle and my father found more success in life and were able to better their lives. Now, on the opposite side, my mother came from a totally different background. She was the daughter of an engineer and a nurse, and they were very well to do. And I presented this to the underwriter. I said, listen, I'm struggling with this, because under this model, under this credit based model, what you're telling me is you would charge my poor grandfather more than my rich grandfather, simply because my rich grandfather had better means, had better opportunity in life. Now, certainly my other grandfather, my poor grandfather, would have loved to have capitalized on, but just never had the opportunity. He had a good life. And it was a wonderful man. But the way I said it was, listen, so my poor grandfather was 10 and 2, right? He couldn't afford a deductible, let alone the associated cost of an accident and said surcharge. So that, and this is true in life as well. So that grandfather is 10 and 2, following every traffic law. He's not speeding because he can't afford the speeding ticket. He can't afford the accident. 10 and 2 every time he's in the car, and his propensity for accident was far less because of this. Now, you take my other grandfather, right? Much like anybody else who might be a little bit more well-to-do, your worry isn't much about the deductible or even the associated cost of accident. Really, it's just your personal being, right? You're more worried about your safety, your children's safety, your wife's safety. And that's what's kind of driving any good behavior that you might have behind the wheel. But at the end of the day, you're in that car by yourself, a 2022 Porsche Carrera Turbo, right? And you're on the highway, you're anywhere, right? You might be pushing the limits a little bit, right? You're going faster, you're taking more risks, you're taking harder turns, right? You get on the highway, and I might have driven one of these types of vehicles at a point in my life and gotten a 124 and a 65. And maybe you were in a similar situation where you're going 124 miles an hour in Virginia, 5 lanes, no one on the road, right? What do you do when you're in a Porsche? You go really, really fast. I guess the point in me saying this is, inside of that predictive model, that credit based predictive model, the guy driving really fast in a Porsche and taking more risks than probably most people do is being charged less simply because he's had the ability to pay his bills more timely or just pay his bills period. And you know, at the end of the day, the poor grandfather who's 10 and 2, who drove an awesome Chevy that I wish I had right now, but is 10 and 2, never getting into an accident, but he's paying more for that auto insurance, and that really rubbed me wrong. And this was the pushback from the underwriter. So at the time, as I'm explaining this, and I'm a little hurt, right? Because I love both of my grandparents equally, but I'm hurt because principally I can't stand for the fact that a poorer person is being charged more for insurance simply because they're poor. But the answer at the time that was given to me was fraud. Well, you have to understand, and I love when people tell me that you have to understand something. You have to understand the poor person is more apt to commit insurance fraud. Well, the reason why we're charging them more, excuse me, the reason why we're charging them more is because statistically that person is going to um, commit fraud. Excuse me, my computer is freaking out on me, my web camera. So is going to commit fraud, which is absolutely untrue, in my opinion. I mean, is it true? Of course, in certain circumstances, but you can't paint everybody with that broad of with a stroke. So let's think about this honestly as well. We're still using these predictive models, and we're still using them in the same fashion. There's still heavy credit base. So we're still struggling as an industry, right? Telematics is the new thing, right? So we're using telematics as a way, right? Big brother in your car, how hard you're braking, how fast you go, right? This is the new brand of, in my opinion, kind of idiocy that the insurance industry is using, because not only does the consumer not want big brother in their vehicle, but at the end of the day, if you're actually going to dig deep into telematics, which I will here for a hot second, it also, it really doesn't work. And proof in the pudding is we still have not gotten our pricing structures right, right? Outside of Allstate and a handful of other companies, no one's really been able to turn a good underwriting profit, right? None of these insurance companies actually make money off of selling insurance, off of that underwriting, right? They make money off of their investments. What insurance companies are really good at is dumping money into the right places, basically making money off of your money, right? But the secret sauce, how everybody thinks insurance companies make money, right? You watch your insurance agent pull out of his office in a Porsche, you are pissed, right? You're pissed because you're thinking, well, now I know where my insurance premiums are going, right? Well, number one, that's just false on all levels. And it even hurts me that it came out of my mouth. But the reality is insurance companies don't make money off of underwriting. They make money off of investments, right? They have not figured out how to use predictive models. And right now, again, telematics is the new hot thing. They haven't figured out how to use telematics in a way to actually generate profit. Right. And what I mean by telematics, again, that's that thing that they're asking you now to put in your car. Right. And they're telling you that, the price point that you're going to pay is going to be based semi on your driving. Right. So how much you're braking, which, by the way, there is to this point no proof or evidence or any kind of data to back up that your propensity to brake ahead of time is a predictor of what type of driver you are. As well, let's talk about speeding when it comes to telematics, okay? Speeding. Okay, so they're just judging it based on actual speed, right? So how fast you're going. Well, is that all that's happening when you're driving your car fast? Where are you driving it? In what circumstance, right? Is it a 55 mile an hour zone or a 45 mile an hour zone? Are they able to tell? No. So if I'm driving according to the big brother that's in my car 55 miles an hour, oh, he's driving, he's on a highway. What if I'm driving 55 miles an hour and there's a snowstorm and everybody else on the road is going 25 miles an hour and I'm zigzagging in and out of traffic at 55 miles an hour, right? Technically, according to this new telematics and the way that they're rating with telematics, that is a safe driver. However, that same person or a different person, but that same person is now driving on a sunny day. And like I was when I got my 124 and a 65, like I am, Nobody on the highway. 4-lane highway, 5-lane highway. You can't see a car in front or behind. They're going 85 miles an hour, dead center in the middle of the road. I mean, they're going fast. Don't get me wrong, but 85 in a actually, I think it was a 70, but 65, 85 and it's going to 70. You're going 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. So you're going to tell me that that person who's only made the decision to drive that fast because he's the only one on the road. It's a sunny day. The roads are clear. He's dead center in the middle. He's actually the safe driver. But the 55 mile an hour driver zigzagging in and out of traffic in a snowstorm, well, he's driving safe. He's actually going 10 miles an hour to the speed limit. He's not going to get into an accident. Or he's the reason why everybody and their grandma was sitting on the highway in Virginia a couple months ago or a month ago for like 14 hours, right? Because some ding dong was going 55 miles an hour. But the best part is Progressive or State Farm or one of these companies is charging that man less because he was only going 55 miles an hour. So you can see why I struggle with it. So, and it's funny too, because I was reading an article the other day and actually InsureTech highlights. I don't know if anybody on LinkedIn is also a subscriber, but InsureTech highlights really good reads. I post quite a bit. If you actually go on my LinkedIn, Daniel Ventresca, you could find me. I look just like I do now, a little chubby, bearded, but find me and take a look. I post a lot of their articles, but they posted an article the other day that um, was speaking to the telematics, and I really enjoyed it. But another thing I was reading was 2021's rate increases on the commercial line side. So again, everybody's been kind of struggling, like my grandfather, right? My poor grandfather. Small business has been just eating dirt left and right. Whether it's the government shoveling it or inflation shoveling it, it's just coming from all sides. So why not the insurance industry pile on, right? I mean, why not? They're hurting so badly. Let's raise rates. It makes sense, especially considering underwriting. And I don't know this, right? I'm guessing, but I think I'm guessing like everybody's guessing that insurance companies probably have done pretty well. Where I've already told you that they don't make an underwriting profit. I bet dollars to donuts the past 2 years. A lot of these companies that historically have not turned an underwriting profit, right, have lost dollars on every dollar they spend or earn rather. Actually made somewhat of an underwriting profit, right? People aren't driving their cars as much, accidents are down, and people are home. So that homeowner's claim is probably being mitigated at a much faster or at a higher level than ever before. So again, I'm going to digress all over the place here and fly all over. But I was reading this article that was telling me about consumer pricing in 2021 as a whole nationally and how it's gone up. Commercial auto 4.69%. Year end ended up 5.58%. Commercial auto. Last I checked, there's like 7 quadrillion truckers that we need to put on the road. No one's driving to work. I'm pretty sure Allstate and State Farm have completely gotten rid of any company cars at this point, for the most part, right? Their sales force, their sales managers are no longer in that company car. So, how have rates gone up? Or excuse me, 4.89%. I'm getting ahead of myself. Not 0.558. That's the average bot policy has gone up 5.58%. The small businesses, the restaurants and retail storefronts, all those businesses that have eaten dirt for the past 2 years, half of them have gone belly up because there is no business. So please tell me where the claim's coming from that's driving it. And you're going to tell me inflation. Okay. So we're using telematics, we're using everything inside that we can anymore as an industry, and for good reason. I get it. I'm actually on board. I agree with it. But in doing that, should we be lessening people's rates instead of increasing them, right? If our associated cost of doing business is changing, and maybe we are making less money as an industry, but at a certain point, like, how are rates going up when it's very obvious to any human who's been paying attention or is even half awake that businesses couldn't possibly be incurring the same type of losses? They haven't been open. The people haven't been coming in. So if no one's coming into my business, where's the claim coming from? Is it EPLI? Is it fraud? Are you going to tell me that, much like I was told 20 years ago when I was pushing back on my grandfather and, hey, why would my poor grandfather be? Well, because he's going to commit fraud. Okay, so Poor people are now bad people that commit fraud. Oh, they do it out of necessity because they need. Again, you guys can see where my frustration is, and and maybe you disagree with me, and that's fine. Totally disagree with me. I challenge you. Come on, tell me how I'm wrong here. But at the end of the day, um, again, commercial auto 4.89% increase. Business owners policies Q4 premium renewal rate average 5.58%. Bops went up, right? December it leveled out, excuse me, at 5.77. General liability year end 4.2% nationally rate increase. Commercial property 6.14%. Holy cow. Commercial property, because the fact that the rates skyrocketed, you know, you know, for anything, on everything, taxes, everything's up. Commercial property 6.4% because the risk changed so much in the past 2 years, right? That rental property that you had that's now vacant or that you're not earning any money on because no one's paying rent. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's raise that guy's rates by 6.14%. Now, mind you, this doesn't sound like a ton, right? Oh, it's only 4.69%. What if you own and represent a large restaurant group, right? So you might not have one single line of these businesses that have gone, or lines of business that has gone up. You might have four of them, right? You might have general liability. You might have commercial auto, EPLI, molestation, right? If you're a restaurant or you're doing anything, you've got a bevy of different coverages here, right? And across the board, your rates are going up per every policy. Now, mind you, too, yeah, are there restaurants out there that are only paying 5, 10 grand for their general liability for their package policy, smaller operations? Sure. But again, what about that large restaurant group that's paying $200,000-300,000 a year for their associated cost of insurance? Now, mind you, awesome, right? They own a restaurant group. They're doing really well. But are you kidding me? Do the rates go up 20, 30, $40,000? They're sucking dirt like everybody else. 20, $30,000 increase? Why? How? Where are the claims coming from? I've worked in the restaurant industry. My wife still works in the restaurant industry. Last I checked, she's coming home with a fraction of the amount of money that she was because there's a fraction of the amount of the people coming into the restaurant. So, again, general liability 4.28, commercial property 6.14, commercial umbrellas 5.4%. Workers' comp went down, but that's the state, right? That's not the insurer. So I'm not surprised there, right? Because the government, and I'm not getting into politics, but at least the government here, in terms of the workers' comp rates, is recognizing we're hurting, right? Everybody's hurting. The rich are hurting, the poor are hurting, everybody's hurting. This is something Americans are sharing, right? So at least the workers' compensation costs have gone down. What we got here in November, we were at 0.75 decrease annually. So a little bright light there. And I guess we could all, I mean, I still don't want to write workers' comp in the state of New York. I can tell you that much because they stopped paying us zero. But I would, be happy in the states that New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Massachusetts, not a fun state to do business in either, but customers up there as well, all right. They're at least getting a little bit of a break there. So 0.75. But at the end of the day, to quote this article, most major commercial lines of insurance ended the year with their highest average premium renewal rate since Ivan's Index began in 2017. So we're talking about 3 years pre-COVID. 3 years pre-COVID, when this index started, right? Rates have gone up more since 2017. This year, huh, guys? This is when, as a group of insurers, you're going to raise people's rates because they're getting raised everywhere else. Now, in my opinion, everybody's feeling it so hard, and this is just me, I guess, being a renegade, being, pushing back, which I always will do, is going to push back. I love the insurance industry. I love the life it's given me. I love everything about it, right? I'm a second generation insurance agent. I'm fortunate enough to be in a situation where I have a voice here. I have a podcast. I can vent. I could say the things that I want to say. And this bothers me a little bit because I feel like I know this industry well enough. And again, I'm happy to be wrong. I'd love to just piss off an exec right now enough to make him want to come on. Let's talk. I'd love for you to explain to me where it's coming from. Explain to everybody who listens where it's coming from. Where's the premium coming from? Why? If as I've explained already, or at least logically as I've seen it, as I'd like to think that as most people see it, most people in my position, most people who aren't in the insurance industry, the people paying the premiums, mom and pop, right? Mom and pop business, even corporate biz that are paying these rates. I think they're looking at this going, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Everything's down. How are claims up to the point where my rates? And if you're going to blame it on inflation, how is inflation dramatic? If we're pulling back on company cars, if we're Allstate just announced what 2 months ago they're closing their corporate office park. Allstate's kind of home for the past 100 years is closing. Why? Everything's going inside. Everything's going inside, and it should be going inside. Automation should be our focus at this point. So our agents, who are the lifeblood of this industry, so our agents have an opportunity to spend more time client faced, right? Instead of their day to day being spent inundated with just the grind, right? Running your business, we should be heading in that direction. We should be allowing our agents, more opportunity to sell, to do what they do best, and less time spent, dealing with the nonsense, the corporate nonsense, right? Um, so I agree with it, but how are rates going up when you're pulling back everything? Right, everything's a third party, right? No one has claims adjusters anymore. No one has anybody doing audits anymore. It's a third party that you're hiring. You're not employing these people anymore, and we appreciate that. We're really happy that you have spent all this time and all this effort to be involved, to recognize trend, not just in our industry but all industry, and to put your focus into it and try to find a better way. But why are our rates still going up, right? How and obviously the predictive models aren't working. Whether it's geography, zip code, as they say, metrics of age, all the different rating factors that we've been using for years and years and years, just they don't work. And despite all of our technological advantages, we still haven't figured out a way to generate profit profit from underwriting. We're still dependent upon the money we're getting paid and then investing it in a way. I mean, at the end of the day, what we should do, all the companies that push financial products, all the crappy mutual funds that these poor agents have to sling. I feel bad for them. I wish these companies actually taught them how they make their money. Right? Forget the crappy mutual fund you just gave me. What did you invest in that made you so much money? I want to know. I'm going to tell my clients. You want me to be a really good financial advisor? Selling FFS or one of these companies, financial products? Tell them what you're doing, huh? What you're really doing, not what you're telling them to sell. Tell them what you're doing, right? It's a little frustrating, right? I think for everybody. I'm sure if you didn't really know how it went, I hope I'm opening your eyes that insurance companies don't make money off of writing insurance, guys. It's off of investments. It's off of your money. It's off the consumer's money that they make money. So again, whether it's telematics, whether it's predictive raters, I'm wondering generally as an industry when we evolve. And prices need to go up. I'll say that prices need to go up, but prices also need to go down. Okay. Bottom line is we're not one size fitting everybody. I know we're not doing that. Certainly, obviously, that's kind of runs contrary to what telematics are. It kind of runs contrary to what predictive models are. But at the end of the day, we're still kind of grouping people together, right? These models are very obviously not being a good judge one on one on a one-off basis. So I am again. I'm interested to see where we evolve as an industry, and to go here um, and into these telematics. Again, this is the article that was posted by InsureTech, and I'm going to read some of the bullet points. So obviously, we hit on metrics of age, zip code. Despite the technological advances, how we're still kind of dropping the ball. One good point that they brought up was it's actually the business model itself, right? It's not the actual technology. and I'm just going to read a couple little snippets here because I think this is a really good one, right? And I apologize to just read it. I'm giving all credit to InsureTech Insights. Again, I love what you guys publish. It's phenomenal, and I'm a big fan. So, well, when asked, where's it coming from? Why are telematics such a disappointment? It's mostly because of business models, not technology. The most popular telematics programs from the big auto insurers work in the same way. You go through a traditional sign up process, and they offer you a traditional price for 6 months, for 12 months. Then they use an app to monitor your driving as a result, and you could earn up to 30% discount. It says two problems. First, it's a terrible consumer proposition. Okay, I think we all know that, right? Like Big Brother in your car. Like, who wants Big? Number one, and I'm never putting anybody in my car. I have an Alexa. I struggled with Alexa, right? But I really like yelling out a song and listening to it, and it really helps my kid with his homework when I can't. So, and I don't like Big Brother. I like Big Brother. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want him in my car. I can tell you that much. Anyway, then they use an app to monitor your driving as a result. You could earn up to a 30% discount. It says two problems. I'm repeating myself. Secondly, there's no way to raise rates on the worst drivers. Did you know that? So even though you've got that in your car, you can't really raise rates on the worst drivers. Plus, of course, the insurer faces a problem up front. Charge too much for auto insurance, pre discounts, no one will sign up. Charge too little, and you won't make any money. Basically, what I'm hearing is it's not working. Whatever you think is working, it's not, right? So, I mean, just again, I don't want to say give it up, but I think we need to kind of put our focus into a better a better way to rate. Actuaries, man, is it hard to become one? And boy, are they smart people. I feel like as an industry, we spent and leaned on them a lot more. And where technology, again, is taking us places, taking us where we're going to be, right? Technology is everything. I really do feel like we need to kind of take a step back at this point, take a deep breath. Don't raise rates in the process, right? Don't defer your breath on the consumer. All right. While you're taking your deep breath, figure out um, whether or not you're doing right, and fix the problem first. You need to even the playing field somehow, then do it afterwards. But see some more things here that I loved about this article that I just read. It was posted the other day. Again, I want to say maybe 2 days ago. I read this article about. It might have been longer ago. Anyway, if you want to go to my feed, it's posted on there. Um, Ultimately, prices should be entirely telematics. So again, if you didn't hear me say this before, they really did say it's not actually the technology, it's the business model. It's the companies themselves that are getting in the way. And again, it's because they're not really relying on the technology. Like everything else that we do in big business, we're all so much smarter than what we're being told and what's being proven to us. So here's basically a foolproof. This is telematics telling you statistically how it's happening, and then some big dummy comes in. Oh, I run a big company. I'm gonna tell the telematics exactly how to work properly. I'm gonna just tweak this and tweak that, and now the business model's perfect. Well, that actually seems to be the problem. And maybe I'm wrong. Right? Maybe I'm investing too much into this article, but it's really not just this article that's driving my train of thought here. I just thought that this one specific article really kind of really just hit all the major points. But let's see. Uh, Ultimately, prices should be entirely telematics driven. But outdated business models are not the only reason most insurers have struggled with telematics. They've also mostly been measuring the wrong things. General driving behavior versus condition-based driver behavior. The industry has tended to focus on the driver behavior. So this is exactly what I was pointing to before, right? How are you going to charge the guy who's going 85 miles an hour in a 65 on a highway by himself less than you're going to charge the guy going 55 miles an hour on a highway covered with snow, zigzagging in and outside of cars? That's that smart guy coming in and saying, nah, nah, nah. Let me tell you, telematics, I'm going to tell you how you're supposed to work properly. And then screwing it all up. And then who eats it? I eat it, right? I'm the agent who can't write your auto product now. And if I'm writing for one carrier, if I'm a captive agent, well, thanks, man. Thanks for 6 years in a row, 6 renewals in a row of rate increases, State Farm Farmers. Thank you so much for doing that to me. I really, oh, State, I really, really appreciate you made it really easy for me, considering I have one auto product. Thanks for screwing it up so badly that you've had to raise your rate 6 years in a row so you don't make even less money off or throw more money at the underwriting process. So, general driving behavior. Again, it's this article speaking to speeding, anticipated braking. Again, and we track anticipated braking, and as far as we can tell, it has zero predictive power. Now, let's be honest too. Let's talk about predictive power. Accidents and tickets are no longer tickets and accidents, right? They're incidents. So if I get rear-ended 5 times, now bad luck, right? Insurance companies are going to try to tell you that that is indicative of the driver you are. That somehow you having the unfortunate circumstance or circumstances where you've been rear-ended 5 times, that is indicative of you've never had an accident before. You've been driving for 35 years. In the past 6 years, you've been rear-ended on your way to work. It's got nothing to do with the road quality or the fact that rate increase, wages haven't gone, all the mitigating factors in society that have people driving like animals on the road. Now, I'm from New Jersey, so I see animals on a daily basis driving on the road. But at the end of the day, those mitigating factors have nothing to do with it, right? The fact that you got rear-ended 5 times is telling us, you're a bad driver. You're driving your car really terribly. I'm sorry, I don't believe you, right? The fact that I got rear-ended, right, and then someone left go of their shopping cart because they're lazy, and there's a lot of those people in New Jersey as well. But I venture to think that that's probably everywhere in the country. People just like to let their shopping carts go, even though there's like 18 freaking places to put them really easy. Park next to one. If you're so lazy, park next to one of the freaking things that you can put your cart in, please. But at the end of the day, they let their shopping cart go and it hits your car, comp claim, right? I got rear-ended, someone's cart hit. Now, mind you, your insurance agent isn't doing a very good job. If you're calling up and you've got even $100 comp deductible and you've got a small dent in your car that's going to cost $500 to pull out, if as an agent, and it hurts me that we can't just claim these, we should. You paid your entire life into a system. It's a lot like Social Security. I get it. You pay your entire life into an insurance system, and inside of that insurance system, you feel like you want to know what? I don't want to pay $400 this month. All right, I have a $100 deductible. I don't want to pay $400. I don't have it. It's Christmas. I spent so much money on my Christmas present. I don't want to spend $400. Right? I want to claim this. I've been paying my insurance for 30 years. I don't file claims. I want to claim this. But as insurance agents, and I'm sorry, we have to do it. You can't. You can't file that claim anymore. If it's $400, you're paying it out of pocket, right? If it's a $15 homeowner's claim, and you got $1,000 deductible, just pay the $1,500. Don't file the claim because with the predictive model, everything's changed. It's an incident, right? So you've got a rear end collision, not your fault. You've got a comp claim. Someone let their car go and hit your car. A rock kicks up and hits your windshield. You have a zero deductible, right? I've been paying for a zero deductible for years. I've never had to replace a windshield. Well, why wouldn't you use it? Why wouldn't you use it? You can control the rock coming up out of the freaking dump truck that's in front of you that's going down to throw rock in someone's yard or wherever it's going, right? You have control over that, right? You can control that rock hitting your windshield. So that happens, right? So there are three things you have no control over. All that you've ever had, all happened within a 2-year period. And now, unfortunately, you have your first accident. Well, you don't have one incident, right? Now, they'll tell you you're only allowed, or we're only allowed to surcharge you for an at-fault accident. But you've got 3 incidents. Well, 4 incidents, actually. You have the 3 non-at-fault incidents. You've got an at-fault accident. And now that's 4. And inside of our predictive model, you are an adverse risk, right? You're an adverse risk. You have 1 ticket. You filed 1 claim, actual collision claim. That's your fault in freaking 30 years of driving a car. and I'm sorry, we're going to have to your new business rates now jacked, or even better, one of these lovely, lovely companies comes to you and says, "You've had 4 incidents in the past 3 years." And mind you, three of them are out of your control. You've had one at fault accident, 30 years. The other 3 incidents are out of your control. Sir, ma'am, you're ineligible, and we're going to drop you. So everyone's playing this game now. So now you're gone. Thanks for 30 years of premium. Never filing a claim except for this one. We had to pay 3 grand out to fix your car. $3,000 we had to pay. Now you got to go because that's just way too much money for us to pay. So now what do? I'm going to start shopping. Well, screw one of those screw the captive market. All this allegiance I gave to State Farm, to Allstate, to farmers, 30 years of business. Oh my God, they just throw me. They don't care about me. They don't think about me. Now, mind you, don't blame your agent because your agent is on all fours begging anybody. He's saying it's his fault. She's saying it's her fault. She's like, take my children, have them. I don't want them anymore. Just don't raise these people's rates. They've been with us forever. I know their children. I know their grandchildren. Don't take don't take this from me. Don't takes relationship away, right? We're good together. They're never going anywhere. Pay the claim. Let them stay. They're good people. Now, please, that doesn't work. It's black box. You're out. So $3,000, you're gone. And now you got to start shopping. Every single company you're going to is now looking at 4 incidents. Not one incident, not one at fault accident. They're looking at incidents. Not all of them. Some companies do it a little bit better than others. I don't want to, as I'm telling, don't paint with such a broad brush. Don't paint every company with a broad brush. Some companies do better than others. So, and as agents, that's our job, is to find out who they are and line um, our customers up with them. So at the end of the day, again, it's not your agent's fault, but you can see how it's just a twisted spiral right now, right? And it's obviously not working. Whether it's a predictive model, whether it's telematics, it's just not working. So I'm beating a dead horse, I think, at this point. But again, to speak to it, what is a predictive model? A predictive model is not working. The predictive model is not predicting. In proof in the pudding, they still haven't figured it out. We're still not running underwriting profits. So, where in design, in theory, it's supposed to do exactly what we hope it will, what we want it to do. It's not working. It's just not. Unfortunately, and I have hope. Again, I love this industry. I believe in it. I do have hope that we will find our way, that we will figure out a way to this point, a way that we haven't, where we can kind of base each individual case by case, what type of risk they present to us, and charge them accordingly, right? And there are mitigating factors where you live, whether you like it or not, consumer, right? If you're listening in right now and you're not in the insurance business and you're thinking this guy is a full-on crazy person, well, I am, and I'm happy to admit it. But at the end of the day, you also have to understand that I get that you're a really good driver, but the giant hot mess that lives 2 houses down from you, that's going to T-bone you while you're backing out of your car, out of your driveway because uh, uh, because of just the traffic pattern, and he's an idiot or she's an idiot. Well, we have to factor that in because he's hit like 16 people and there's like 10 more of them like it, right, on the street because of the traffic pattern, right? So, there's certain things that are whether you like it or not, doesn't make a difference how good of a driver you are, where you live, right? You know, I totaled my first vehicle when I was 17 years old, 3 months after I got my driver's license. I was off roading, acid pink. It was really fun until I totaled my car, until I hit a tree at 45 miles an hour and exploded basically the engine and then rolled down a hill and ended up on the roof of the car with everything squirting out of there. Now, State Farm jacked our rates. I mean, jacked our rates. What am I going to say to that? I'm 3 months with my license, right? I'm an idiot. 10 and 2. I was actually a good driver. I still pretty much the same driver I was then. Still love to go off road. Was my mistake was going off road, right? I should have a beater vehicle that I'm never even going to claim. Once I crash it, that's my lesson learned. I'm putting liability only on the car that I'm taking off road, and I'm going to kill it, and then I'm going to go, well, that sucks, and then I'm going to go buy a new beater, right? I'm gonna have a lot of fun finding it. But that was my life lesson. I wasn't mad at State Farm. How can I get mad at State Farm? I just totaled a $20,000 Jeep 3 months after I got my driver's license. Guess how many other idiots did that same year in my county? Forget the state of New Jersey, in my county, worldwide, right? So if you've got a young kid and you're pissed at your insurance agent because your rates just went up when he got his driver's license, stop. Stop. You know he's going to get into an accident. You hope not. You love him. But come on. You know that the propensities happen as well, too. Guys, when your grandmother or your mother is 90 years old and she shows up at your house and there's 18 different color paint streaks on her freaking car, and you say, what are those from? And she goes, I don't know. Someone must have hit me. No, someone did hit your grandmother. 18 freaking different color cars didn't hit your grandmother. Grandmother needs her license taken away. And one of the way the insurance companies figure this out is they know that you're probably paying your mother or your grandmother's insurance bill. And we're going to jack her rates because she's old as dirt and has no business. And he has no business. Your grandfather, I don't want to show grandmothers in there. And I love my grandparents. I don't have any of them anymore. But all of them, holy crap, bad drivers towards the end. None of them should have been behind the wheel. So please don't get mad at us as an agents, as insurers. That's not our fault. There's certain things that are in our control and out of our control. Where I just went on a 40-minute bitch lesson about the insurance industry and how they're screwing us all. They're not. They're trying really hard. We're trying really hard as an industry. We're really trying hard as agents. We're pushing back. We all are. We're pushing back. We're trying our hardest to do the right thing for you guys. But it's going to be some more time before we get there. So I'll get on to another question before everybody decides to never tune in again. Angie from Texas. I keep hearing you say things like retail insurance is dead or the retail office model is dead. And I do say that kind of all the time to everybody. I've been saying it for 15 years, by the way. So don't say, oh, COVID or anything. 15 years I've been saying retail's dead. And you're only building an ego inside of a brick and mortar. You are. Why? What do you mean? I know people do everything online, but we still have a customer base that wants to come into our office. So, Angie, you're right. You do have a customer base that's coming into your office, and they're holding a money order, and they're the person that I just described that probably shouldn't have a driver's license, and they're paying their bill, and they're sitting at your desk, taking up a lot of time that you should be spending marketing and selling. 95% of the consumer 95% of the consumer is finding their agent and their product online. 5% of the consumer is purchasing at a desk. 5%. So you're telling me that 5%, and we know that 5% is probably the old lady with the money order paying her bill. I'm spitting. I feel like my father. That was how we gauged whether or not, or how angry he was how much teeth and spit came out of his mouth. It was how much trouble you knew you were in. No spit, just a little bit of teeth. I might make it. A lot of teeth, a lot of spit. Oh shit! Excuse my language. I'm in trouble. In any event, 5%. The only thing you're building inside of a retail office at this point is ego. Now I get it. There are parts of the Southeast, the Midwest. There are probably a couple offices in New Jersey. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. I bet there's 18 people that'll listen to this and go, I know an agency. Oh, no. My agency, people. Okay, that's great. People still walk into your agency. Keep your doors open. If you're a new agent, is a better way to put it, and you're going to invest $5,000 into a retail office space, $5,000 into a retail office space at this point, when you know that 5% of the consumers sitting at your desk purchasing insurance, you're out of your mind. I mean, not just out of your mind. You're not meant to do business at this point because you have not gotten your finger out and you have not put it on the pulse of anything in the insurance industry. How are you going to spend $5,000 on a retail office space right now? $5,000. Do you realize what that can do inside of a referral program? Do you realize what that could do if you're lead gen? I wasn't a lead gen person. I mean, I bought leads like everybody else my whole career. right? I'm still telling agents to buy leads, people that I'm consulting with and helping open and build agencies. Not one of them am I telling to open up a physical office. And if they're inside of a physical office, I'm saying, when's your lease up? Get out. You got 5 grand a month? 5 grand a month you're spending right now? Oh my God. Referral programs. Build the best website that ever was and dump $5,000 into SEO all day, every day into the SEO. Watch how much business you write. Is that what we're here for? Are we here to build ego? Listen, I'm never making this any prettier. I'm never, only thing I can do is get smarter. The only thing I can do is learn. The only thing I can do is pay attention to what's going on. And if you're not paying attention right now to what's going on, you're inside of a retail office or you're signing up with a company that's forcing you into one, which is even worse because they don't have their finger on the pulse. If you're with a company right now and they're smashing you into a retail office and you're looking at it going, oh, well, you know what? They're giving me a really good assignment. I'm getting 500 policies to start. Those are 500 policies of some agent that just retired. And the only reason those policies were with that company were, well, some of them were because of the agent. So give it a year. Now that's 250 policies. Your assignment just took a freaking nosedive. And now that assignment that you predicated whether or not you could afford the office that they were forcing you into can't pay for your office. Now what do you have to do? Well, now I got to write business. Well, I mean, hopefully you were writing business anyway, but now you have to. Not be to make money, to pay for the freaking office that they just forced you inside of. Right? Does that make any sense to you? Even better, you're a scratch agency. You've never written a policy before. You have no assignment. You're going to go, I'm going to pay some guy $30,000. I'm going to pay you 30 grand a year, right up front, $30,000, so I can have the pleasure of putting your logo on the front of my brick and mortar office. And I'll tell you what, I'm so excited about it because now I have a $5,000 overhead and I've got another, I don't know, $500 a month in utilities. And I've got to pay people now to staff it from 9 to 5 because I've got to keep my office open from 9 to 5. Well, and if it's a certain strip mall, you've got to stay open till 10 o'clock at night in order to be able to be compliant with your lease. So now I got to staff this freaking place for like 18 hours a day. I got to keep the lights on. I got to pay some ding dong because turnover's rampant trying to find someone in your office that's good. So now I'm burning through money trying to train people. I'm loaning to my sales manager who's drawing pictures on my freaking desk, drawing a triangle, telling me how understanding this triangle is going to help me sell life insurance that I don't want to sell inside of a retail office I can't afford. So now I got to write, as a scratch agent, I've got to write 1,000 policies in my first year just to pay for the office. I'm not making money yet. I just paid for my office. 1,000 policies. Guys, gals, baby boomers are gone. They're gone. They're no longer going to support this market. You got maybe 5 or 10 years left of that financial gift that the baby boomers generation gave us. And what's behind them? Another solid generation of people with a good amount of money. None of them are walking into your office. Who's behind them? They don't even want to talk on the phone. If it's not a text or an email, if you're not figuring out a way to get into their head via like TikTok or something like that, how are you going to find them? What are you going to sell them? Where are you going to sell? What platform are you selling them on? Are they? It's going to come in through your front door, through your retail office, that strip mall, the one that Amazon killed. That's where your business is coming from. Okay, good luck. So to answer your question, Angie, I hope I didn't insult you, and I'm really, really happy you might have a client base that's coming in with money orders. Now I am insulting you. I'm sorry, Angie. But in all seriousness, I'm happy that you have a client base, and I love that. People want that. They're still buying from agents at an 85% clip. We are necessary. We don't actually add that much cost to the overall cost of insurance. We have a really, really important role in this. We are that advocate. We are that important person. We need to continue to be that important person as an agent. Well, we can't be as dumb in the process. Can't cut off our nose to spite our face. And this face is so pretty. It's so pretty. I want to use it to sell insurance, you know? So I'm happy there's clients walking into your office, Angie. But if you don't have it right now, if you do not have a game plan, uh, if it's not a referral program that's utilizing technology to grow, if it isn't SEO inside of a superior website, if it isn't using lead generation programs and different types of automation that can do your information gather for you, if you're not utilizing what we know the consumer is using to buy, if you're not game planning now, if you're not inside the curve, you're going to be left in the dust. I want to drive the bus, right? Am I the most technologically advanced person? No, but I sure am embracing it. And I'm not embracing it because I want a computer to do my job. I want a computer to do the job that I don't like doing, right? I don't want to have to worry about figuring out which company raised rate every freaking month because their predictive model sucks and then having to contact that person. I want my system to do it for me. I don't want to worry about who's monoline renewing and having to assign a person that I'm paying to sell. Now all they're doing is figuring out who's renewing next month with a single piece of business, right? Home no auto, auto no home letter. Now I've got to assign someone to do that I'm paying to literally just figure out who's renewing. And then I got to pay them to create a communication stream, some sort of drip campaign, text, email, whatever, initiate it. And then I got to pay them to follow up on the phone call. How about this? How about the computer does it? Why do I have to do that? I just want to make the follow-up phone call. I want to pay that superior salesperson whom I love, and I love the job they do, and they're very capable, which is why they work on my team. I want to pay that person to just make the phone call, right? So, technology, there's a misconception in the insurance industry. And I know older heads will freak out when you say technology, right? They just think about terrible, terrible um, uh, launches, that just screwed their days up, right? I couldn't write for 3 days because my auto quoting system was down. This stupid technology. I wish I could flip a carbon copy. At a level, I get it. But if we don't stub our toe, if we don't fail miserably, we're never going to find that stride that's going to allow you to spend all your time, old head, inside of the sales process and the marketing process alone. We're doing this to make money, and we're doing this to protect people. And that's it, right? Those are our charges. Provide for our families and do the right thing for the customer, right? And we have to protect the company as well, right? That's important because we need to. If you find a good company, you embrace it, work with them, tell them what they're doing wrong, tell them what they're doing right, right? So, but make money, protect the customer. Anyway, I didn't even get to my other questions because I'm angry apparently about everything. Um, I have a great guest next show, same time, 12 p.m. February the 17th, Napper Tandy, a good friend of mine, an impressive human generally, but more than that, someone who survived a terrible mudslide. It almost killed he and his beautiful family. You'll see the advertisement again on my page and the premium podcast page. I'll show you the pictures of the devastation. And it wasn't just him; people did die. They were some of the fortunate ones. So he's going to come and talk about the experience. Yeah, he's going to tell us a little bit about the insurance process. Unfortunately, my dad and I were able to step in and save him. What equated to a couple $100,000. He was insured by a very, very good insurer, and he ended up getting paid, but almost got beat up in the process. So, really great guest. You'll all enjoy just hearing him generally. It won't be me. Again, I'm going to try to avoid this format as much as possible. Obviously, I love talking, and I'm really sure none of you want to listen to this me talk. So moving forward, again, we're always going to try to have someone more interesting than I, that's probably and hopefully less angry to tell you about insurance. But until then, again, please tune in. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I'm not even on Facebook, but please tune in to our next cast Wednesday or Thursday. I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's a Thursday. Thursday, February the 17th, 12 p.m. again. James Napatandy is going to talk to us about surviving a mudslide, and we'll talk a little bit of insurance too. But thank you all for tuning in. I wish you all well, and have a good day.